Dude told me to go ahead and plan the wedding, and now he's telling me he ain't gonna be ready till the end of the year. What do I do? What up, y'all?
Josh and Isi here once again with another quality video.
So as promised, we told you guys we were gonna bring you guys a Therapy Thursday from our previous video. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. You know we only drop quality over here. Anyway, we asked you guys to submit some Therapy Thursday DMs via the Josh and Isi Instagram account. We just sifted through some and we screenshotted them, so we're ready to share with y'all the tea.
I think this is actually like a really good section that we've kept it alive. We don't do it consistently every Thursday, but we try and keep it alive because honestly, there's some good stuff to be said in these little tidbits. So without being too long-winded, let's go ahead and get into this Therapy Thursday. Oh, wait, disclaimer. We are not therapists.
Yes.
At all.
Yep,
we are not therapists, like we are not licensed in any way, shape, or form. We are just giving our best advice
based off personal experience.
Yeah. So you're going through something with someone that you see yourself long-term with.
Like heavy.
Go seek real therapy. I think real therapy is good for couples.
Just want to make that very clear.
Make that real clear. But you know, other than that, this is just some friendly advice. So let's go ahead and get into this video. Therapy Thursday. My boyfriend just recently lost his job, so he moved back to DC to look for work. Since he's been gone, our communication has almost been non-existent. When we do talk, he says how much he loves me and wants us to get married, but it's hard for me when he just ghosts me like that. I try to be understanding about his transition because it has been a little difficult for him. What can we do to get it back right?
Interesting. I'm gonna try to think in the mind frame that not all guys ain't ish, right?
I'm debating on whether to go savage mode, Josh, or like...
I don't know. It's the ghosting part that's an issue with me. However, I do think it's realistic to acknowledge that him losing his job and having to kind of like uproot what his original plans were to find a new job can, if you're not emotionally intelligent,
be stressful.
Yeah, like be stressful and kind of detach you from your partner a little bit. The fact that he's still like affirming her and validating her tells me a little something, but I don't know. I think it's difficult for me. We should just be blunt.
I'm gonna go ahead and be blunt and say that most times actions speak much louder than words, and guys have really good mouthpieces.
I think I'm trying to spare her feelings and try to give the benefit of the doubt. But if I'm thinking from like outside looking in perspective, and I guess I'm basing it off of my experience with you. Like if either one of us were going through something like that, I feel like that's when you lean on your partner the most. Like you want to talk the most to them. Like that's the person that kind of maybe brings you a little bit of light into a dark time period in your life, right? But not everybody is like that either though. So that's why I was like willing to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. And maybe he doesn't know how to lean on her.
And I think the big thing that needs to take place first is
a conversation.
A conversation addressing the elephant in the room, which is that you feel like neglected. So if you feel like you're not getting the communication that you think, again, I'm not gonna lie, job searching, I did it for a while. It doesn't take your whole day. Like there's still time.
Did she say he found one or no, not yet?
No, he's in the process of, and it can be stressful, you know, looking for a job.
Yeah, it doesn't take 24 hours.
It doesn't, you're not searching 24 hours for a job, and if you were, you would have found one, trust me. But like, I love giving people the benefit of the doubt, but at the end of the day, you have a right to your own happiness. And if you feel like you're neglected, if you feel like you're not getting what you deserve in a relationship, I need to cut it off.
After you voice that opinion, right? So have the conversation like we're saying. Definitely share exactly how you're feeling and how him being distant makes you feel. Give it a little bit of time. By little, I don't mean like till the end of this year. I mean like see what the actions are looking like within a month. If nothing has changed, then that's kind of your answer as to where he's at with y'all's relationship, right? Regardless of somebody bringing up like marriage and stuff, because that was something I've seen a couple of times in the screenshots that I was reading that we're gonna go through today. Just because somebody throws out the topic of marriage does not necessarily mean they're really about that life.
And just because someone loves you does not necessarily make them the right person for you. It's sad to say. There's a lot of people that love each other that are very toxic. I've seen some very toxic relationships where they say like they love each other. And I'm happy for them. If they're happy, I'm happy. But I can see from an outside perspective like you guys don't mesh. They're not providing each other with their needs or wants in the relationship. So I don't know. But that's all I can say. Have a conversation. If you don't see any change in action, it's time to let it go.
I have rekindled with a person I loved when I was 18. We each went our separate ways. I went to college, he went to military. He has always been in the back of my mind, like just there. He would text me and I would ignore him because I was like, nah, I'm tripping. I don't really like him. Well, I let myself be free for a night and we met up last Friday. It felt like I was with my person. I have never been so calm. Before I started healing 4 years ago, I was so rough with men, but with him, I feel safe. Genuinely safe. He was talking about future plans for us and asking about my interests. I have never had that. It felt real. The only thing is he uses marijuana recreationally and I do not. Exclamation point. So I'm looking for some advice. This sounds a little familiar.
Because we kind of dove into it that, you know.
Truth or drink?
Truth or drink. We kind of dove into like.
Be a little bit more honest with you guys. A little more honest.
And I think there was a point in time where you kind of saw the same things. Like I had everything that you were looking for in a man. You're like, everything's good. And then there's just like this, like, it seems like a smudge. Mm-hmm. It's like, nah.
And that was our college days. I would say that it wasn't until maybe 2 years ago where I started being a little bit more comfortable with you before I even had tried it. Just like letting you do you or whatever. So I guess what we're trying to say is we did go through, at least for me, I can kind of relate to you in the sense where it's like, what the heck? Like you almost demonize it. We almost demonize it a little bit, right? The fact that you said it's recreational, I think that, I mean, at the end of the day, y'all are grown adults. He's a grown man who can do what he wants, right? Yeah. But it's a matter of, I think the concern can start coming in if it seems overdone. But for the most part, you can't control somebody's life like that. And just because you don't do it, like there might be something that you do that he doesn't do, but I don't know him like that. But if that's gonna stop you from being with a person and it doesn't harm you, it doesn't necessarily harm them unless they're using it obsessively, like let it flow. See where it goes.
I hear the word recreationally, so I feel like it's from time to time and it's not like a habitual thing.
Right, yeah.
I've noticed a couple things with marijuana smokers. There's weekend smokers, there's like recreational, which is like from time to time, it's not necessarily every day, and then there's like habitual smokers that like, that's when you need to have a conversation about you're doing it too often. It's one thing to say like, okay, I don't like you smoking marijuana every day. It's another to say, I want you to stop it altogether because I don't. That's like you saying you drink and I say I don't, so you have to stop too, kind of thing. He has the right to make that decision as a grown man. You can choose to accept it or walk away from it, but if he's checking off all your other boxes and it's just like, that's the only thing that's really ticking you off, I'd say you might be overreacting and you might be missing out on a quality man because of one little small thing. So this person said, I'm in my first relationship and we were friends for 8 months before we officially started dating. And we've been dating officially for a month now. We've both been dropping hints wanting to be more serious in bed. Neither of us have been intimate with anyone like that before, so we're both nervous. We've had a lot of conversations about intimacy, what we want, our boundaries, yet I'm still nervous. Do you have any advice on how to get more comfortable with intimacy? And do you think it's too early to be intimate with one another only a month in? What do you think is the right time?
Well, I will give them the fact that it's good that they've already started discussing it prior to it just happening.
You've been friends 8 months, you're about a month in. I think it has to do with your level of comfortability with that next step. How much you trust this person and sort of like your bond. I can't necessarily sit here and say a month, you should wait 2 months, you should wait 3, whatever, because that's on a person-to-person basis. You seem to both want to build more intimacy, to be more comfortable in that space. Intimacy takes place up here first. So you should definitely be having a conversation, multiple conversations.
It doesn't even just have to be about.
It doesn't have to be about that. It could be more emotional about like diving into your feelings.
Yeah.
But if you're not comfortable talking about it, you definitely shouldn't be having it. So if you can't have that conversation about like next steps, what does in the bed look like to y'all? What is like, all that stuff, protection, have you been tested? Can't have that conversation, then by no means should you be having it at all. You're too immature. So again, that number you can't put a specific number on that. And through conversations, through getting to know each other on a more deeper level and sort of connecting your heartstrings, that'll make the next step a little less nerve-wracking.
So I just got out of an almost 2-year relationship with my boyfriend because he didn't treat me with the proper love and respect I deserve. And I'm having a hard time accepting the fact that he might treat the next girl the way I was supposed to be treated. Kind of like I was his teacher and learning lessons just for someone else. And that hurts me a lot. How do I accept this? Girl, you and like millions of other women, honestly. Like even me, I kind of experienced that with my ex too. And ultimately, I feel like that is what happened. Like I taught him how to be better for somebody else, but I got better as well, right? So instead of dwelling so much on what his next person or next relationship is gonna be like and what you didn't get from him, if it was meant to be, it would have been. I think that you just gotta keep the faith that God has something better and greater for you out there. You even said that he wasn't treating you with the proper love and respect anyway. So it's kind of like, what's the point of dwelling on a love lost that you never got in the first place? You were never properly loved, taken care of and stuff like that anyway. So it's just like, and you don't know at the end of the day if you really did teach him how to like treat somebody better, or if she's gonna go through the same thing that you did. So I would say this is one of those situations where it's kind of like tunnel vision your own lane, your own life, your own relationship. Don't dwell too much on it, because like I said, that's happened to millions of women. We've all kind of gone through that phase of trying to teach a man how to love us. It doesn't work out, and then you see him doing the same thing, like doing what you were begging for with someone else. But better is out there for you. Okay.
Me and this man, I'm gonna leave the name out, been seeing each other for not so long. It started out as just good vibes because, you know, it gets lonely when you've been single for a while, but along the way I caught feelings because I saw how much of a good person he is. I haven't told him how I feel yet, but he told me he loves me during an argument, and we haven't talked about it since. I really like him, but there's a couple of problems. The first being that his girlfriend passed away a little over a year ago, and I know he's had to heal, but I think he may be subconsciously using me to grieve. Also, since the death, he's been through ladies. I don't know if I should remove myself from the equation or if I should stay. He's so good to me, but he can also be very absent and toxic at times. Do I leave?
Yeah, I think so. Especially because you mentioning that his girlfriend passed only a year ago, that's not a long time to mourn and heal from losing someone that close to you. Like,
not to mention the fact that like it's weird because you can't even compete against that person because there's now like this glorified version of them in that man's head that you're now competing with until he completely grieves with the situation. And that can be extremely tough because it's like you can't even like look to compare at that point. You're just competing with his memories, and that's not fair to you. You need to give him time to heal. He needs more time to heal. You said he's been going through ladies, he's grieving, he lashed onto you, and then he said he loved you a year after his old girlfriend passed. That's a red flag. I'm not gonna lie. He's still grieving. And I think he's searching for love to fill that void. I think that may have.
And he might feel like he found it from you, but you can't be that for him.
If you want to be a
just to be a friend.
Yeah. If you want to be a friend, be a friend. You know, you can be a listening ear. You can like help him through the grief. But in terms of trying to be together, he needs time.
Yeah, and have your boundaries with that too, right? Because I'm not sure what you guys were arguing about to make him say I love you, but like you can be, I think that people find difficulty in drawing the line of like what's friendship when you have this type of situation, like what's friendship and what's teeter-tottering a little bit more on the entanglement romantic side. So again, like I said, like if he texts you or something like that and he needs somebody to talk to, cool. But if he's like trying to hang out often and stuff like that, I think that's where you got to draw the line for yourself to protect your own heart.
You got to look out for yourself. If you said he has like toxic behaviors, that's a telltale sign he hasn't fully recovered from the grief that happened past year.
My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. He just graduated university last year and just got a job 2 months ago. He's never been broke because he's very good at saving. So good, he isn't even in debt for university. Paid everything in cash. We have talked about getting married and even saved to plan our wedding together, but he hasn't proposed yet. I try not to push him, but I keep wondering what he's waiting for. I mean, it was his idea to start planning the wedding. Last weekend, we had a conversation about when he'll be in that place where he'll be ready financially to actually get married, and dude said maybe by the end of the year. The problems, she listed them out. 1, he knows and accepts that I want to be engaged for about a year before we get married. 2, he asked me to set a date and I told him March of 2022, in parentheses, less than a year away now. 3, dude told me to go ahead and plan the wedding and now he's telling me he ain't gonna be ready till the end of the year. What do I do? Honestly, y'all are doing things real backwards, if I'm being like bluntly honest with you. I've never heard of starting to plan a wedding and stuff before you got a ring on your finger. And this kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier about like, and it's not to say that he doesn't really want to marry you, but I think that sometimes men might use that word or the topic of marriage and stuff in a very manipulative way, because a lot of the time when we're in a relationship, women in particular, that's the ultimate goal. Like if you're dating with intention, right? So I think that sometimes men might throw that out there to like keep the woman kind of in his back pocket, like keep that in the back of her head to know that eventually it might come. Well, in his head, he's trying to say eventually it'll come. To me, I'm saying to you, think of it more of a might.
So if he's ready to be engaged by the end of the year, but you said you want to be married March 2022, okay, you guys' timeline is a little off.
I think, to be honest, sis, if I'm being real honest with you, like you're my bestie or my sister, I'm gonna tell you to chill out on your timeline. I'm sure you're young, you guys are young, we got the rest of our lives to live. Like, what's the point of rushing that process? Granted, I don't really know background history of what you guys' relationship is and your plans for your marriage and stuff like that, but if I'm being honest with you, we're kind of taking our time with the whole marriage thing and stuff so it's exactly how we want. Like if we were moving to the beat of other people's drums, it would have been dang near this year, right? But
the last year.
Yeah. So it's just like, don't rush that process. That's supposed to be a beautiful process anyway. Like you guys are bringing your lives together as one. So if he wants to wait to the end of the year for financial reasons or whatever reason it is in his head, it doesn't even need to be financial. I think because like if he is going to be your future husband, respect it, trust it, because he's already bringing up the fact that you guys are going to get married and stuff. It sounds like from what I've read, you trust in this man and you want to take that next step with him. So it's kind of like, then why rush it? Even getting married in general, you got to do the marriage license thing, potentially change your name. There's so much that goes into it. If he does propose by the end of this year, you might not even be able to make it happen in March regardless. So that's the best advice I can give to you. Just like chill out, trust in the relationship, trust in your man, respect where he's at right now. Yeah. Whether it be financially, emotionally, whatever it might be, why he wants to wait till the end of the year, respect it. He might be creating the most amazing engagement that you've ever seen.
If you push a man into marriage, he's only doing that to get you off of his case. He's not doing that because he wants to genuinely be married. And you never want that. You don't want a guy that's just doing it just so you can get off his back. That's gonna be the theme of your relationship for the rest of y'all lives if that's the case. He's like, oh, I'm just doing it so she'll leave me alone, or I'm just doing that so she'll get off my back. So
you want him to hold on.
Yeah, you want him to want it. Okay, so this person said, so I chased my high school crush for about 3 years and we dated for almost 2. He's really sweet, done many things for me. He's always been there and has done many acts of service that I really do appreciate. So I don't want it to sound like he's a terrible person, but the thing that hinders the relationship is that he doesn't like talking about his feelings. I tried telling him how important communication is, but that makes him say I'm nagging. There has also been the problem of how he interacts with his female friends, for example, calling them babies, wifey, etc. And when I try to simply voice why it bothers me, I get told I'm just getting on. We broke up and I know a relationship isn't everything and I'm young, but I guess it's just the first heartbreak thing. We get along really well and are still best friends because he's the only person that is consistently there for me. I guess I just want to know how to be okay with being myself so I don't feel the need for a boyfriend to be happy.
Well, first, while he was reading that, I wanted to say when he was done, like, I'm proud of you for not being in that relationship anymore, because that type of behavior is unacceptable. The whole best friends and like, that's no. But my eyebrow raises at you guys still being best friends only because, being blunt, EC, that doesn't work. Like, you being best friends with someone you were romantically involved with does not work. Like, think about y'all are just best friends. You no longer have the title. Maybe you see him interacting with his female friends or whatever again. He's calling them wifey and babe. Like, are you gonna be okay with that? I can answer it for you. You're not. Like, any human natural reaction is gonna be like, even though you don't have the title anymore, which is why I'm trying to explain. You can't really be friends with your ex, or if you are, because I'm sure there's some scenario out there where it works.
There's some people.
It takes some time to kind of like detach those ties, the emotional ties that you have with each other before you can just hop into a friendship right after. So my advice would kind of be to set that boundary. I'm always talking about boundaries. Set that boundary for yourself and understand that you need to go through this healing process on your own. Like, him still being on your line, hitting your phone, y'all hanging out on some friend stuff will always lead back into that cycle. Before Josh, I had dated a best friend, and we were together for a minute. And I think what a big learning lesson that I had learned from that relationship when it ended, and I was so hurt about it because I was like, this is my best friend. Like, how can he do me wrong? Because he did some toxic things in our relationship too. I think at the end of the day, if somebody's your true best friend, and I think of it just even as platonic best friends, like how I am with my female friends, I would never do anything to hurt them. So flipping the script with what your relationship is with him and stuff, you guys being best friends, but he's calling other females baby and wifey, knowing that would hurt you, or telling you like, oh, well, you shouldn't have an attitude about it, like you're doing too much, basically negating your feelings and belittling them and stuff. That's not a friend, let alone a best friend. They wouldn't treat you like that. So that's not too simple. What you got?
I would say from jump, he kind of showed his hand that he didn't want to be in a relationship. For the mere fact that you asked him to talk about his feelings.
Oh, that was
and he responded, yes.
I forgot about that.
And he responded with, you're nagging. And then he's doing some ain't-ish behavior of calling other girls baby or wife when you guys were in a relationship. There's plenty of flags that say he wasn't ready for a relationship to begin with. And you shouldn't get hung up on the fact that like you weren't it.
Because there's gonna be a lot of girls that's gonna go through this toxic cycle this young man puts significant others through.
I've always said, if she slaps me in the face and I say, that hurts, please don't slap me. And she slaps me again, she's just discredited all my feelings.
Exactly. And that's exactly
that's exactly what's happening. You're getting slapped in the face emotionally, and you're saying that it's hurting you, and he continues to slap you in the face. You
don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So like, just take that and know that if he's not responding to your emotions, he doesn't care about them. Rest assured that someone out there does.
And will.
And that's who you need to be looking for instead of wasting your time with dude. Well, that is all we have for you guys today. I know we only answered a few of them, but we plan on doing this more often for you guys. So just stay tuned. We got more coming for you and more therapy on the way. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. Let us know if you can relate to some of these situations. We feel like the comment section is somewhere for you guys to come together and discuss these things. You know, make a community down there in that comment section. Stay on the lookout. We got more lit content coming you guys' way. Just wait on it. You got anything else? Well, all is said. If you don't already know, I am Hydrated Hero. She is Isimeme Edeko. Together we are Josh and Isi. Now you can follow one of us. You can follow two of us. You can follow all three of us. You might as well follow all three of us because we are happy, healthy, and hydrated on all three. But other than that, y'all, until we meet again, peace, love, head grease, and we out. Hey, 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 subscribe. Hey, 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 new